Well, two former Democratic presidents talking tough on immigration.
We are still a nation of immigrants. We should be proud of it. We are also a nation of laws.
Yes, we need tougher border security and stronger enforcement measures.
But fast forward to today, and Democrats are pushing back against tougher security on the border. Why the change of heart? Our panel is on deck.
We want DACA to happen. Everybody, I think I can speak for everybody. We want John Cornyn from Texas. We all want DACA to happen, but we also want great security for our country.
Okay, you missed it.
An update now on some breaking news this morning. The Trump administration saying it will not shield 200,000 Salvadoran immigrants living under the temporary protected status. This program provides humanitarian relief for victims of the 2001 earthquakes. The Obama administration extended protections for 18 months back in September of 2016. That extension expires today. This all comes as the White House and Congress try to work out a bipartisan deal on immigration reform. Issues include funding for the border wall, ending chain migration, and protections for thousands of those so-called dreamers. Let's bring in Chris Bedford, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller News Foundation, and Emily Sussman, the campaign director at the Center for American Progress Action Fund. Chris, it's hard to see how the two parties are going to move forward here when Democrats are putting their foot down and saying we need a DACA fix tied to government funding, deadline quickly approaching, and the president saying no DACA fix without the wall.
The president is trying to negotiate from a position of strength, which he currently still has, with control of the House, a slight margin in the Senate, and control of the White House. And he's going to say that in order to allow DACA and allow the amnesty for these about 700,000 people who are here in the United States otherwise illegally, that he wants to have a change to the immigration system. He's called for something that some call radical, basically to copy our more liberal cousins to the north and have a Canadian-based merit system as opposed to just continuing amnesty. The problem here is that the GOP is not completely aligned behind that for the president. And not only that, the Democrats are not only 100% against any kind of change to chain migration or even border security, at least recently, but they've got no incentive to give him a win on the way into midterm elections. So I think that it's not going to be a bipartisan deal if it even gets done at all.
But you got to remind everybody, Emily, we're going to show you President Obama back in 2006 and Bill Clinton back in 1995 talking tough on immigration and border security. Listen to this.
Tonight, I announce I will sign an executive order to deny federal contracts to businesses that hire illegal immigrants. Let me be very clear about this. We are still a nation of immigrants. We should be proud of it. We are also a nation of laws.
It will authorize some badly needed funding for better fences and better security along our borders. Yes, we need tougher border security and stronger enforcement measures. Yes, we need more resources for customs and border agents and more detention beds.
Which leads to the question, Emily, have Democrats changed their tune on this issue?
No, absolutely not. And you could actually also include the audio you had just played in the last segment of Donald Trump saying everybody wants a fix on DACA. The reason that everybody wants a fix on DACA is because it's a self-created problem by Trump, exactly the same as it's a self-created problem today in his immigration rollout. Everything he does is just putting more chaos into the system. Look, there's already a bipartisan consensus in both houses. There should be a fix for DACA, that it is incredibly unfair to these young people that were working here legally, going to school here legally, just to pull protections. It doesn't even appear the president totally understands the implications.
I think something you're leaving out of that conversation, I'll let Chris come in on this, is that the president's not against a DACA fix. He's just making
he created the problem, so I'm glad he's not against it.
He's for a DACA fix. He just wants it tied to funding for the wall. Chris?
Well, and going around Congress, as the last president did, to grant this executive amnesty is, I would suggest, what caused the problem here. And what Donald Trump says, and I think what would assuage Republicans' concerns here, is that 700,000 people who are given, you know what, you can stay, does not become 3 million people because every person who they know is allowed to come in here. If the line for U.S. citizenship is that you have a relative in the country, that's a really low bar. And not only that, but it sets people up to fail, and it sets communities up to become more insular and not integrate, because if you don't have the skills to succeed in a foreign country, you're going to rely more closely in this insular community, or we're going to have a separation of people and communities that is not healthy.
I only have a few seconds. Last word to you, Emily.
Look, Republicans are fully in control of every branch of government, and they can fix this problem if they want to. If you want to tie it to a border wall, let's talk about Mexico, right? Isn't that Trump's big campaign promise? Bring that into the equation. Don't start adding in pieces and more chaos into the immigration system just to fix a problem they created.
All right. Well, surely this is a debate that's going to heat up as we move into the new year. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thank you.
Shall be continued. John Scott, meanwhile, happening now, rolling your way in a couple minutes. Hey, John, good morning.
Good morning to you, Bill. The media frenzy over a new book on President Trump's White House, but